Good evening, I'm Ian Chambers with an hour of local news, views and conversation on the way. A public inquiry says victims of child sex abuse in care were failed by Nottinghamshire councils for decades. There have been more public apologies today and we'll be looking at what's been done to put things right.
We're all of us determined to get to the bottom of this and to finally give the survivors of this awful abuse the best we possibly can do. I cannot apologise enough. I think it was a terrible stain on our council's history.
Also meet the Nottingham Choir working with the Royal Shakespeare Company to create their own version of the Bard's best known work.
Theatre should always be about people at the heart of it and about working together, and I think it just demystifying that idea that theatre's only for people who went to drama school or theatre's only for people that can afford a ticket. It's not like that, or theatre's for everybody, and that's kind of really what we're trying to promote here.
And how England's success in the Cricket World Cup is inspiring the next generation of players. We've been talking to the members of the winning national squad and the Nottingham kids they're working with.
I was a bit like obviously these guys growing up. Always a dream of mine to play for England and to get a World Cup medal. I guess like an athlete winning that Olympic gold. So you always dream about it, but actually do it was, as I said, a dream come true.
All of that and lots more to come, and alongside me this evening I'm joined by two top local talkers. She's the former artistic director at the Lace Market Theatre, it's Bex Mason. And from the Nottingham School of Boxing, it's youth worker and inspirational speaker Marcellus Baz. How are we doing? We all right? Welcome to the show. Right, let's get serious, because first off, we are talking knife crime. In the House of Commons, MPs have declared spiralling knife crime a national emergency, with the Home Affairs Select Committee calling on new Prime Minister Boris Johnson to take a lead on tackling violence by appointing an accountable leader in every area reporting directly to him. Now, the group heard evidence that the number of under 18-year-olds admitted to hospital with knife injuries rose by a third from 2013 to 2018. I'm going to start with you, Baz. I know you do a lot of work here locally to prevent this sort of crime happening. Do these statistics surprise you?
They do surprise me, yeah, absolutely. I think, especially in Nottingham, with the collaborative approach that we're taking with the local authority, with the police, community groups coming together, as you can see, the statistics have been declining, which is always a good thing, and we just need to continue that work and, and also look at this issue exactly like what the government are looking at. It's a national emergency. It's very imperative we don't just patch it up. We actually look at dealing with every aspect of it, look at the social factors that are contributing towards it. Like what we do at Switch Up in Nottingham School of Boxing is to provide counselling, is to provide mentoring, is to provide education, is to provide employability skills around the power of sport to enable that young person to make that transition into employment training and education, but also to a better life, a safer life, and away from criminal behaviour.
Bex, what do you make of everything that Baz just said? Do you agree?
Totally, yeah. I'm very lucky. I'm from a different generation, really, and it wasn't obviously such a big issue. And I think the teenagers nowadays are exposed to so much on the internet that it's so difficult for parents to police and teachers and everything, and they're being exposed to things that we can't have access to. And I think anything that is giving them a different voice has got to be very, very powerful, because at the minute, there are teenagers out there and younger that are only getting fed that one voice of, oh, it's really cool, to carry a knife, and not getting but there are different options.
How long do you think it will take to change the mentality of young people who might carry a blade, Marcellus? Because the reality is, once you're in that mindset and once you're within that culture, I imagine it can be very difficult to escape. Does it come down to, tackling it from ground level and teaching the youngest who are yet to pick up a knife, or is it, tackling both, those who have yet to do it and those who are currently already doing it?
We're not going to be solving this problem overnight, and for me, and I feel that we have to be in there earlier on, early intervention, prevention, and then look at providing people with alternative opportunities and support networks to not even get into this sort of life. It's important we prevent grooming and prevent young people going into this path.
Thank you both for your thoughts.
Yeah.
Right, now for the first time ever in Nottinghamshire, a white sparrow has been spotted and photographed by a Notts resident called Sharon Dale in Pixton. The bird is not believed to be an albino, but a leucistic bird, which doesn't carry the trait of red eyes. Alice Scarf has this.
This white sparrow has never been seen by the Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust before, but the leucistic sparrow has officially made its first visit to our fine county.
The photograph was sent in by a member of the public who'd taken a photograph of it in her garden and just wondered if we were interested and if we'd like to let people know. We do occasionally get reports sent in of either albino birds, which are white and have the pink eyes, or the leucistic birds, which are white or patchy white but have normal coloured eyes. But we hadn't seen a sparrow. We'd never had a picture of a sparrow sent in before. We'd had a couple of white blackbird pictures sent in over the last few years, and even a house martin, which I can imagine must have looked really strange, and a badger. We actually caught an albino badger as part of our vaccination programme. So they do occur. They're actually quite common in nature, but the thing is they don't usually survive. Albinism only affects the production of one pigment, melanin, and albinos usually have pink eyes, whereas leucistic birds, the condition affects the production of a whole range of different pigments, so you get much more variation. They could just look sort of mottled or sort of have white patches, or as with the sparrow, they could be completely white but have normal coloured eyes.
The Trust are keen to find any photos people have of any leucistic or albino birds and mammals.
We just think it's really interesting. One of the issues is that if the bird is completely white all over and wouldn't normally be white, then it can actually put them at a real disadvantage from a survival perspective, because obviously they're an easy target. They don't have any of the natural camouflage they might have. You know, many wild animals, they have their coloration not just for attracting mates, but often for camouflage. So sometimes they don't survive very long in the wild. So when we have a bird like this that occurs on a regular basis and people are seeing it regularly, it's really interesting, and we'd just like to know more.
Now they've ventured into Notts, keep your eyes out for them in our skies. Alice Scarf for Notts TV.
Danielle Hall's here now with your Nottinghamshire News Bulletin, including all of the details of today's finding from that independent investigation.
Yes, and first, a public inquiry into the abuse of children in care has concluded victims were failed over decades because Nottinghamshire councils did not learn from mistakes or take enough action. The independent inquiry into child sexual abuse published its report today into abuse at care homes and in foster care dating back to the 70s. It says councils still don't have enough processes for the reporting of allegations and action taken. We've just been speaking to Nottingham City Council leader David Mellon, who had this to say.
I hope that we will be able to do everything that we can as Nottingham City Council with our partners to make sure that when children come into our care needing refuge and support and nurture, that they get that they're not in further danger. So that means we need to redouble our efforts in terms of the recruitment of foster carers, and we need to just look again at what the report is saying about our children's homes. Our children's homes look nothing like the situation that they were 20 years ago, because we have closed all our big children's homes. They are now mostly with 2 children in them. There's a maximum of 4. They look like family homes. They have a much smaller cohort, much less likely to have the institutional feel that is described in Beechwood by a number of those contributing to the inquiry. But we can't stand here today and say we've done everything we need to, because clearly there is still failures and we need to address those, and we will take time to take in the report and address its findings.
The leader of Nottinghamshire County Council, Kay Cutts, also repeated a public apology and says she now feels responsible for making sure victims get justice and that procedures change.
I was a very junior member when this was very much the happening that I didn't know about. I was on the Children's Services Committee for a while. We didn't receive any reports. If there had been any reports, I would have asked questions about them. I haven't changed so significantly over the years that I wouldn't have pressed and wanted answers. I can honestly say I didn't know. It was very much a council which kept things at the top level between senior officers and senior members, and we weren't told the reports. Now, I've been in a leadership position in this council, leader of the opposition and also leader of the council on 2 occasions. This is my 2nd occasion. It's the first time for 28 years when I came in last time, and I was not aware then. The report, I think, broke about 2014, when I hadn't lost the role as leader of this council. I followed carefully all of the inquiries that were there. I took steps to read the J report on the Rochdale case, and I was very concerned at the things that were coming out. I feel very responsible for the victims and survivors. I think it's my job now to make sure that they get satisfaction, and that's what I intend to do. I am their champions, and I've been pushing into an open door with my officer colleagues as well. We're all of us determined to get to the bottom of this, and to finally give the survivors of this awful abuse the best we possibly can do. I cannot apologise enough. I think it was a terrible stain on our council's history.
A man's been jailed after robbing someone at knife point in the toilets of a city nightclub. 23-year-old Adam Watson from Radford targeted the victim at Stealth nightclub last August, taking cash from his pockets. Security detained Watson, who was then handed to the police. He was found guilty at court of robbery and possession of a knife and sentenced to 4 years and 9 months.
Escape the weather at the Lost City Adventure Golf. Book in advance and save at the lostcityadventuregolf.com. Sponsors of weather on Notts TV.
What a miserable day it's been, and this evening is no better, with more showers until around 10 p.m, when it's due to clear up a bit with temperatures dropping to 14 degrees. Then tomorrow is a bit of a mixed bag, with lots of cloud around and scattered showers throughout the day, highs of 22. Then as we head into Friday, it's more of the same, with heavy cloud, highs of 22 and lows of 14, Ian.
Thank you very much, Danielle. When we come back, your first ever memories of swimming and a full sports roundup from this lovely woman. See you in a minute. Welcome back. Tonight I'm joined by dog walker and former Lace Market Theatre Artistic Director Bex Mason. From the Nottingham School of Boxing. He's my hero. He's my Sam's bad. Hold on a minute, 1 second. I love these two. We can do better than that. One more time for these two, please. There you go. All right. Now, how strong are you at swimming? Because according to a recent YouGov survey, only 38% of Britons say they are strong swimmers, with more than half saying they are not or cannot swim altogether. Bex, I'm coming to you first. Statistics are surprising. Yeah. Does it correspond with you?
I thought kids were taught to swim at school.
Yeah, I was.
I mean, my mum and dad took me to a swimming club, like quite early on when I was a kid, to learn to swim. And I remember when I got moved up from the shallow end to the middle bit, and I didn't want to because I left all my friends behind. So I was crying, doing breaststroke, and thought like,
it's scary, isn't it? The first time that you feel your feet, you can't stand on the floor anymore. You go,
Yeah.
Because I was digging through the loft at my parents' house yesterday, and I came across all my old badges, not bragging or anything, but backstroke and all that.
On eBay, you know.
Oh, can I? Yeah. Baz, can you swim?
I swim like a fish. Yeah, because I can remember I had a real traumatic experience the first time I ever went as a primary school kid to a swimming pool. I can remember I was there, we were walking up and down, and they were showing us the shallow end and the deep end, and I walked up to the deep end, and one of the kids pushed me and I fell in. And so the lifeguard, rather than sitting there eating donuts, had to actually jump in and save me. So he saved me, which was great. But after that, I thought there's no chance ever if I fall into some water that I'm going to drown. So I started to go to swimming lessons, and I can swim.
You conquered your fear.
And I did, and I believe that everybody should learn how to swim. It's a great sport. It keeps you fit, especially if you've got joint injuries or anything like that. Non-impact sport. Works all your muscles. Fantastic sport.
Baz the Shark there. We've been out and about asking you for your first ever memories of swimming.
I nearly drowned at Butlins. I fell in the deep end rather than getting in the shallow end, so my experience of swimming is not good, I'm afraid.
Because I got so much enjoyment out of it as a child, I decided in later life, or midlife really, that I'd like to teach.
I remember when my dad first took me to swimming lessons, he dragged me by my ankle and dropped me in the adult pool.
A crowd of lads just went to the local swimming bath and all jumped in.
I was trying to learn to swim and I went down. Like that. I never came back up. It took me ages to come back up again.
I was in the river. There was a little bit of island and
couldn't swim. My brother was swimming there, then just went down. Next thing, someone came and pulled us out.
Just briefly, how often do you two visit swimming pools now?
Not very often.
Does the shark practice what he preaches? That's what I want to know.
I do try and get there, and I try and take the guys from the gym as well. It's a great sport, and it's really good for fitness.
We should just go jump in a jacuzzi or something after this. What do you think? All right, next, bringing England's winning victory in the Cricket World Cup to Nottingham. Last month, England won the championship for the first time ever, and now, closer to home, work is being done by charity Chance to Shine and NatWest Bank to inspire young people in the city to take up the sport. Chloe Bicknell went to the David Ross Sports Village to see the street cricket finals.
Right off the back of England's success in the Cricket World Cup last month, things are hotting up in Nottingham too. 200 children from across the country are here to bat and bowl their way to the top of the street cricket finals. Some special visitors have made an appearance, including Liam Plunkett, who was part of England's winning team.
I was a bit like obviously these guys growing up. Always a dream of mine to play for England and to get a World Cup medal. I guess like an athlete winning that Olympic gold. So you always dream about it, but actually do it was, as I said, a dream come true. And to do it with a bunch of guys like class as my friends, such a team environment. And yeah, as I said, it started to sink in a week or so after. And obviously to come to places like this and to meet kids and for them to watch you on TV to win a World Cup medal for England, it's a massive. So I feel proud of us and the team, and yeah, it's an amazing feeling.
Alex Hartley won the Women's World Cup with England in 2017 and says she wants to see more girls get in on the sport.
The more people we can get involved in cricket, the more people we can inspire. I know that the boys winning the World Cup and us winning the World Cup 2 years ago is only going to be a good thing for cricket. I'm a big believer in girls should play all sports that they can and then decide when they get a little bit older what they want to do. But I just think the more coaches we can get involved, the more cricket clubs that have girls teams is only going to, inspire more people to get involved. And yeah, it's something that, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the future.
It will set up a charity Chance to Shine to bring cricket to kids in urban areas like Nottingham. Wafa here plays street cricket in the Forest and even had a role in the World Cup at Trent Bridge.
That was just basically a dream come true, seeing my favourite players right in front of my eyes. I'm taking the flag and they're just walking past me. So that was just one great thing to experience. If I wasn't doing this, I would basically be sitting at home and waiting for Saturday to get my game for the club done. So having this in my life, it actually helps me get on with things and keeps me more active through the day and through the week.
So what do the stars of the future enjoy about cricket?
It's like, instead of being on television and like on computer games, it makes you go outside and have more, enjoy yourself.
When watching the World Cup, you see all these great cricketers and you just want to be one of them, and it just makes me want to play cricket more and all of that. Yeah.
I moved from India in 2004 and playing cricket keeps me connected to my nation.
Chloe Bicknell for Notts TV.
Lovely stuff. And as if by magic, Danielle Hall's here with more of your sport.
I am indeed. Nottingham Forest have secured the services of Spanish striker Rafa Mir on a season-long loan deal from Wolves to bolster their attacking options. Mir hopes his time with the Wolves will stand him in good stead to thrive at Forest in the Championship.
I'm very happy to be here in this historic club in England and in all the world. I can't wait to start training with my new teammates, and I'm very happy to be here.
You've obviously played in English football before with Wolves. Can you tell us about your experience there?
Yes, English football is very strong, very fast, and I think it's the best game for me, play here.
How excited are you for a new challenge in your career as well?
Yes, it's a very big challenge. It's one step more in my career, and I think it's the best option for me. I'm very happy.
Notts County's winding up petition in the High Court has been dismissed. That's after Danish brothers Alexander and Christopher Reitz took over the Meadow Lane outfit officially on Friday. They've wasted no time in settling their debts, paying the HMRC, players, members of staff and football and trade creditors. The case was scheduled to return to court this morning, but was unexpectedly not on the list at London's High Court. A court official revealed the matter had come before a judge in private yesterday and that he'd dismissed the petition. Mansfield Town now and manager John Dempster revealed what he's anticipating ahead of the season opener at Newport County on Saturday as his first competitive match in charge of the Stags.
A good atmosphere,
a hostile atmosphere, an intense game, in particular in the first 15 minutes. So it'll be important how we deal with that. But we're confident, you know, and we're not overconfident, but we're confident going into the game. We feel that we've got some strengths within our squad, within our team that could hurt Newport.
Goalkeeper Conrad Logan thinks the new strikers can thrive at Field Mill as long as the Stags stay sharp in defence.
I mean, I suppose the obvious ones is maybe the strikers. We've sort of loaned players probably more recently in that, and you know, which have done well. But I mean, we've signed Cookie, Maynard, people like that who hopefully will bring goals to it. If we can sort of do what we done last season defensively and have a pretty good record, then, you know, if we can probably add that extra little bit up front. And you know, last season we had probably Tyler Walker who carried the burden a lot and done fantastically well, but you can't rely on sort of one person. So I think the managers probably put a little bit more emphasis and strength and depth up there, and hopefully that will see us over the line this season.
Next, and the only show dedicated to all three Nottinghamshire clubs is back on your screen tonight at 8 p.m. Ian Chambers previews the upcoming campaign for Forest, Notts and Mansfield with Stags midfielder Neil Bishop and former Notts boss and striker Charlie McParland, who, despite having a health scare, is back and raring to go ahead of the new season.
I had a wee bit of health scare light, but I'm over that now. Absolutely brilliant. The people at the Queen's Medical Centre at Accident and Emergency. Then I went up to the city to have my operation, and I must admit, like, these people in the National Health Service are absolutely out of this world. They are brilliant. The care and the attention I got, starting at the Accident and Emergency, then at the City Hospital, from the consultants to the two cheeky cleaning ladies who used to give me stick every day. And
what was the food like? The food all right?
Yeah, the food was fine. I couldn't complain about anything. And a big thank you to all those people who work in the National Health Service and the people who are working on the Papelwick ward at the City Hospital. Absolutely brilliant. And that's why that is a treasure, the National Health Service. And that's why in this country, these politicians, instead of squabbling with each other, look after the people, look after the National Health Service, because that is a treasure.
And how are you feeling now?
I was feeling great up to the weekend. But no, I've had the weekend I was a wee bit, but now, no, I've felt really good. I felt really good.
And you should see his chest. I've seen it under his shirt. He fell asleep in the sun the other day, sunbed at it as well.
So I'm a wee bit.
Do you want to show everyone?
No, I'm not showing them.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted that you're back and you're feeling good.
Cricket now, and the Outlaws have released the fourth part of their documentary series, All In. Included is assistant head coach Paul Frank's passionate speech after Notts beat Derbyshire Falcons over the weekend. Check this out.
As Picky mentioned, and as Samit, who is so wonderful with his words, mentioned before the game starts, this is always a big game. It's their biggest game, but whenever we come here it has an extra importance. It gives a real meaning to a lot of people's weekends. The people that really matter to this team are the people that come and watch. Yeah? We don't see so much of that out there. You've copped it all on different angles tonight for the first time, some of you, on different boundaries, and seen it for what it was worth. For what it was worth, I thought we were outstanding.
When we come back, what do you make of the 2 seasons expected of Love Island?
Win a family pass to Lost City Adventure Golf. Perfect for budding explorers and adventurers of all ages, the Lost City is situated in the corner house and houses 2 separate 18-hole indoor adventure golf courses. Whatever the weather, the Lost City is open all year round, 7 days a week. To enter, simply go to www.nottstv.com/win. Good luck!
Welcome back to your top spot for all things Notts, where I'm in the company of professional dog walker Bex Mason. Can we give a hello, Bex? And from the Nottingham School of Boxing, it's my hero. I'll say it again. It's Marcellus Baz. All right, another season of Love Island is in the can, and as the finalists from this year's series return home to their families to see if their relationships formed in the camp will actually work out. There's a real survey that has revealed that the typical person of someone who watches the programme Love Island is not what you'd expect. Unsurprisingly, more than 2/3 of viewers are under the age of 40. Apparently, physical appearance is much more important to the Love Island viewers than the general population, with 72% of people asked agreeing with the statement. Do you know what's going to happen here? I'm not making any sense because my contact lens is not working, so I'm going to read it off here. Is that all right with you guys?
Yeah.
So Love Island viewers, 2/3 of viewers are under the age of 40. Apparently, physical appearance is much more important to Love Island viewers than the general population. And, you know, they asked if people agreeing with the statement, is it important for me to look physically attractive? And a lot of them said yes. Did you two watch Love Island?
No.
No.
Baz? How come? What was it about it?
I've never seen an episode of Love Island.
You've never seen it?
It just doesn't really do nothing for me. And plus, I'm really busy. I'd rather spend my time doing other things.
Well, 52% of the population are saying that they would be interested in, you know, looking physically attractive. I know that you work out a lot, right? That's not surprising, is it, surely? Because that's a trait that most of us want to have.
I think generally people want to look good and do things to kind of make themselves look good, especially when you're a teenager like yourself. You want to kind
of... A teenager? I've got a thicker beard than you. How about you, Bex?
Yeah, but then I think we're just generally under so much pressure to look good anyway, aren't we? All the time, never mind Love Island, it's all about image all the time.
What do you make of the controversy that's come with Love Island in regards to, you know, the controversy when they come out, have they got the right support that comes with it?
Yeah.
Is reality, there's a lot of rules being put in place now for broadcasters, you know, making reality television. How do you feel about that, Baz?
I don't think there is as much support as they need out there. I think they kind of just been left alone, and obviously you can see how many of them have committed suicide by coming out if the relationships don't work out, you know, and having so much of fame and attention and then going from 100 to 0 is massive. And, you know, I believe that they do need that support when they come out.
Bex, do you agree?
Yeah, and I think more pre-screening as well to make sure before they get into these situations that they're not just hungry for the fame, because if they're hungry for the fame, then
it can be a very dangerous environment, can't it?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We all know the story of Romeo and Juliet, but now a Notts Choir have created their own version of the bard's most well-known work. Nottingham People's Choir have teamed up with the Royal Shakespeare Company and last weekend put on their brand new production, Capulets and Candy Floss. Danielle Hall popped in for a rehearsal.
The thought of learning or performing Shakespeare can sometimes leave many quaking in their boots. But here at College Street, the Nottingham People's Choir have been given the chance to tackle the tale of Romeo and Juliet in their own way, thanks to a partnership between the Royal Shakespeare Company and the Nottingham Theatre Royal and Concert Hall.
The RSC wanted to encourage people that don't normally come and see Shakespeare or don't normally come to the theatre to be more creatively involved in Shakespeare, because they kind of agree that to kind of understand it, you kind of have to do it. So it was kind of born from there, and then they asked me to find a group of people that might be nice to work with and might like to have a go at something new. And the People's Choir have done a bit of Shakespeare work before. They're up for anything new. They like getting engaged in workshops, and they're a lovely bunch of people to work with. So I thought, let's just go with the People's Choir. And it's all kind of come from there. It's all been based on their stories, what they've wanted to do. It's been very much a collaborative process.
Rehearsals started back in February, and since then the group has created a piece that's made up of some scenes from the original text, songs and real-life experiences that relate to the themes of Romeo and Juliet.
It's been amazing to kind of work with people for quite a long stretch of time and really kind of develop skills over weeks and weeks and weeks and layer it up. Shakespeare and theatre can be quite daunting when you first get involved with it, and so I mean, absolute credit to everyone who got involved first off and said, yeah, I'm brave enough to come and get involved. But since then, the kind of levels of confidence in the group have kind of shot up. Just the performance itself is like really beautiful, and there's moments where these community performers are kind of bearing their souls, you know, and they're talking about the first time they fell in love, and these stories are kind of really real, brilliant stories that I think a lot, you might not get from a lot of if you were working with professional actors.
For many of the people here, this has been a brand new experience. So what have they got out of it?
Well, I think it gives people confidence as well, and plus the fact you get to know people, you get a lot of friends out of it. There's lots of things I've learnt from it, just what goes into making a play, for example. and also the language of Shakespeare. Because it's a long time since I was doing it at school, I'll be honest with you.
We enjoyed it, enjoyed the journey of putting the play together and getting to know everybody in the Shakespeare Nation and our choir together. And we've learned a lot of things, and friendship as well, I think.
I've learned so much, really. Discipline, kind of dancing and singing at the same time, which is quite challenging. Being in time with the rest of the group, having to follow the script quite closely. Loads of things. Yeah, it's been great.
Putting on an original production may well have been a first for this group, but will it be their last? Danielle Hall for Notts TV.
Looks fantastic. Now, Bex has just come to the end of a season as Artistic Director at the Lace Market Theatre and has handed over the reins with the final show closing last Saturday. Bex, what a year it was for you. Talk us through it.
It's been superb, actually, because every show got just amazing reviews from the press and from the general public. So really good and not very stressful either.
Talk us through your role. What was it like as Artistic Director and what was your day-to-day?
So I think for me it was quite easy. I think other artistic directors have had it a lot more challenging. So you start the year before, you have a team together that select the plays that you're then going to put on. And then it was our job to kind of put the directors in place and just oversee everything basically. And then I had to be there to step in case of emergencies.
So you've stepped away.
I have.
Is it something you want to jump back on the saddle of? Are you going to do it elsewhere? Is it something you've got the real bug for now?
I think having been able to direct stepping out at the end, again, was just a pure fluke. Stepped in because the director that I'd chosen actually moved to Germany. As you know.
Oh, wow, right, yeah.
Yeah, and I think directing's what I really love. Really enjoyed it.
What is it about directing that you enjoy?
I quite like the collaborative thing of it as well.
Yeah.
But I just love the whole process. I don't go in with any preconceived ideas, but just watching it all develop in front of you and kind of tweaking it here and there to get the best out of everybody.
What was it about theatre that drew you in? Have you always been a fan?
Yeah, I used to do kind of drama workshops when I was a kid, and some people say I'm quite overdramatic, but
never.
So I think, yeah, I've always been a fan, but it's also been a way of making friends and meeting people. And I was away from Nottingham for a long time, so when I did come back, it was just a great way of forming new friendships and new social group.
You mentioned that you were away from Nottingham for a bit. When you came back, what do you make of the theatre scene here in Nottingham? How do you think it compares to other cities in the country?
I think we're really, really fortunate because we've got such an amazing professional scene, but then there's amateur scenes, but then there's kids' workshops, and we've got it for, if you want to be in drama and theatre from a very young age, Notts has got everything to offer.
There you go, you said it best.
Yeah.
We've had a catch up with Bex. Now, Baz here has been working with Instinct Laboratory about developing an app which monitors emotional well-being. Baz, you're always super busy. You've always got something going on up your sleeve. Tell us about this.
So we wanted to look at new creative methods of, getting through to young people, giving young people a platform to be able to really, give their feelings to, so we can better understand them. And with people suffering from mental health, emotional issues, they don't tend to actually reach out to people and talk about their issues. Again, it's linked to offending behaviour. If you feel angry, you tend to act it out and you could be aggressive and violent. So it's important for us to, we decided to work with Instinct Laboratory to develop an app which they've been trialling out with, which they actually have, elite sport teams are using at the moment. So we wanted to use it with, do a pilot with young people from deprived areas that have got complex issues, and it was an absolute success. One, it helped us to be able to channel our resources efficiently to people that were in need, because what would happen if somebody was showing any kind of risky behaviours, a red flag would bleep and we could actually get out there straight away and support that person. Secondly, it would give us data that the instinct laboratories, top psychologists, doctors can actually analyse and then give us feedback to put relevant changes and interventions in place to help that young person make the relevant changes to live a better, emotionally, a more well-being, have a mindset and be a better place to deal with and be more resilient when any kind of relapses occur or any kind of significant life events happen.
What's the interface of the app like then? How does it work?
So basically what happens is we'll install the app on their phone and it would bleep 5 times a day. It would ask them about how they feel, what kind of, is it related to peers, family, school, etc. So basically they could put that information in and give a level of, is it -3 they're feeling where they're feeling really bad, or +3 where they're feeling amazing. So we can kind of get that insight, that data to be able to put certain interventions, changes in place, and it's amazing. It's a great way. We've got some phenomenal results. And now we've done the pilot, which was absolutely successful. I'd been invited to see the Home Secretary to talk about some of the interventions that we've put in place.
Well, it sounds absolutely fantastic, Baz. Thanks for telling us about it. We'll be right back after the break. See you then. Welcome back. Joining me tonight is dog walker Bex Mason. She's a professional. Round of applause for Bex, please. And from the Nottingham School of Boxing, it's Marcellus Baz. All right, good stuff. Now, local businesses and volunteers in Clifton have been doing their bit in the community to help clean up Lark Hill Retirement Home by litter picking and clearing up. Now, those involved shared tips on how to keep the streets clean in your area and the importance of working together in the community.
It's the amount that is being just carelessly thrown. So we have irresponsible pedestrians and drivers who litter. And until we can change their behaviour, then you can't expect the council to pick up rubbish that is being thrown at a rate of knots.
I thought it would be a good idea if we could link the projects up and then have a community fun day and bring everyone together. And again, we've got Florette, who's been doing some African drumming in the area. She's looking to promote and just becoming a constituted organisation, basically.
It's a fun event. It's a social get-together. We have a laugh. It's a bit of a workout as well. And whilst we're doing all that, we're improving where we live, because we want to live in an area that is litter free. We want to make NG11, Clifton, Wilford, Silverdale. We want to make it a better, cleaner place.
We've run a lot of different projects and activities that encourage people from different backgrounds to come together. We've produced several myth-busting guides to try and break down the myths, negative stereotypes that exist within communities. On one hand, it's quite troubling times, but events like this go a long way to promoting community cohesion.
Well, I think today it is really important because obviously a lot of people from here have been doing litter picking for the community in Clifton, and I think it's really good to keep the streets clean.
Amazing stuff. All right, let's talk the Royals. Harry and Meghan have said they'll only have 2 kids to help the environment. During a recent interview with British primatologist Jane Goodall, Prince Harry says having fewer children will make sure we leave something better behind for the next generation. Now, Baz, I'm going to come to you first about this because it's somewhat controversial and there's an argument to be made for both sides of this. I know that you've got 5 children, right? What do you make of the comments?
I think that everybody's got, their own rights to how many children that they have. Obviously we know in China they've put something in place that you can only have 1 child. Now, if there was something that was going to be detrimental to society or to the world or whatever because having more children, and it's proven, then they might have a reason for saying that. But I believe everybody's got a obligation, a right to be able to decide themselves of how many children they have and how many children they can support and bring up properly.
What do you think, Bex?
Yeah, I think they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. Anyway, those two. If they'd have said, right, we're going to have 1,700 children because then they'll be able to create loads of charities and everything, they'd be like, oh no. So for them, I think they can't win.
But Baz, if there is an argument to be made that it could, make things better for the next generation, it's better to make a conscious decision as an individual now than maybe down the line it could be enforced how many children you have, like you say, in other countries.
I mean, sometimes you can't help how many children you have. Sometimes a lot of people might have children unplanned. And I know certain religions you can't have abortions, etc. So you can't really determine how many children you have. The way I look at it, as long as you can bring them up, you can clothe them, you can feed them, you can educate them, and you can implement morals, values, and principles in them kids, then absolutely fine of how many you want. Yeah.
Bex, do you completely agree with that?
Yeah, and I haven't got any, so he can have my quota anyway. So sorted.
How many siblings have you got?
Just one.
Have you?
Yeah.
So that's the same as the Royals. You're going
Exactly.
for the 2. How about you, Baz?
What's that?
How many siblings?
How many have I got? 5.
5?
Yeah.
Six Bazes out there. Amazing. All right, let's move on. Now for some more news headlines from across the county. Will Hollis spoke to the editor of the Nottingham Post, Mr. Mike Sassy.
7 businesses in and around Trinity Square hit by a burst pipe, flooded around Saturday lunchtime, still closed. Most of them are food outlets, eateries, Cosmo World Buffet. I think there's a branch of Cafe Nero in there. Obviously losing trade. Particularly angry about it, some of them quite reasonably. Severn Trent went along on Saturday, realised it was a private pipe, said sorry, nothing to do with us really. So the landlord is still trying to fix it. But in the meantime, they all have notices up in the windows saying closed until further notice.
So what is this going to mean for not only the businesses but the customers that want to eat and enjoy Nottingham's food circuit?
And people have been coming to us at the Post and saying, well look, we had something booked, we were phoned half an hour beforehand, we had to go and try and find somewhere else. Obviously, they won't be going back there soon. But of course, there is a clean-up, a tidy-up issue as well. So they were flooded. They're probably going to take a while to be put back shape.
But there is still obviously plenty of other places to get your grub.
Yes.
Anywhere else that's new? Anywhere else that's open?
Funny
maybe?
You should mention that. Yes. Up on Carrington Street, the Cured Cafe and the old Bunny's Bikes place. Iconic venue in its day, alongside the canal. Lovely sunny spot. So it was turned into a bar there, Cured Bar, in April. Upstairs has just opened, very, very popular, done out with sofas, swans and canal boats passing by, absolutely beautiful, proving very popular in its first week trading.
Yeah, no, it sounds like there'd be some beautiful views there, and kind of a good spot with everybody coming in and out of the train station,
right.
What with the development in that area as well.
Good stuff, yes, so good place to stop off on your way there or back from the train station.
And sort of the end of a bit of a tumultuous era at Notts County with maybe some good things happening?
Yeah, so today the High Court confirmed that HMRC, the tax man, has settled its debt with Notts County. Notts County had an unpaid bill of £250,000 plus. Although Alan Hardy had been unable to pay, of course, the club has now been sold to a Danish consortium, people who put together analytics to help people who bet on football matches offshore in Denmark. They've bought Notts County, and of course, they were also able to pay off HMRC. So hopefully, things looking up for Notts County. First game on Saturday away at Eastleigh, and they have had their transfer embargo lifted. They can go and buy new players, and they really need to as well.
And one of the most important things, though, people are getting paid now.
People have been paid, staff have been paid, unpaid wages, and the players who are left seem happy. Hopefully, gets a few more players in as well.
So now the ball can really start rolling at Notts County.
Yeah, they need to get promotion that first season at the National League. Yeah, Neil Ardley, manager, still there, a good manager, well respected. Hopefully, he'll get them in the first season.
Brilliant. Well, we look forward to seeing what happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please tell me Will did not just say Notts County can finally get the ball rolling. Should we all just hang our heads and say? It's a good job he's not sitting behind camera 3 over there, isn't it? All right, finally tonight, what do you make of this? A mum caused a right stare on social media after blasting couples who go to Disney World without their kids. She reckons they are ruining the park for children in a furious post. She says people without kids should be banned from visiting the theme park completely. Now, the reaction on social media was very split. I'm going to come to you two. I, for one, love this sort of thing on my own. I've got no kids. I'd love to go to like places like, you know, Alton Towers. I would happily take my fiance to Disney World. Baz, what do you think?
I do disagree with her because I believe that, you know, everybody's got a child inside them. And I believe that everybody should have the opportunity to be able to express that and go Disney World.
Yeah.
Bex?
Yeah, if I went now, I'd be there in my Minnie Mouse ears and, yeah, I'd be loving it.
Do you think there is an argument to be made, like, you know, if parents are maybe not so much into, you know, that sort of thing, like maybe we are, some of their kids are having to wait in line behind me, you and Baz.
Yeah.
Do you think there's an argument to be made for, come on, let the kids go first?
No, I think they should let us who are really keen to go and the kids that are really keen to go, we should like partner up, like big brothers and sisters and things, and let the miserable parents should have a day off.
Miserable parents should have a day off, Baz?
Yeah.
No, I do think kids should maybe have a fast track thing, but I think that we should encourage the child inside us rather than suppress it and try and make adults more serious. And there's too many serious people in this world. Like, we want more Ian Chambers kind of guys.
I always have my photo taken with paws at the ice hockey.
Do you?
Yeah, paws! Like that, yeah.
Love it. All right, we've been asking you, should couples without kids be banned from Disney World and why?
I think Disneyland should be open to everyone, absolutely, because there's an inner child in all of us, right? Yeah, it's not just kids that can get fun out of it. I mean, I've never been to Disneyland and I'd really like to go.
Big Star Wars fan, and I'd love to go and see that without kids, you know.
Basically, I think, yeah, it should be open to everyone. I've definitely wanted to go. Tons of my friends have been before with children, and I've always had FOMO.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good fun. You could argue, is it like going to Alton Towers without children? Like, I certainly go with my partner and I haven't got any children, and I guess it's just kind of a theme park, but I don't want to say on steroids.
We agree, don't we?
Yeah.
100%. All right, Baz, it'd be rude not to briefly touch on the Nottingham School of Boxing. The new boxing season starts very soon, and you're starting a new campaign.
Absolutely, we're working with Sport England to try and get more participation in girls, because we're one of the clubs that has got quite a lot of girls involved in boxing. We want to help them to become ambassadors, to get more women involved, to be able to champion the benefits and the disciplines of the sport of boxing, and that women can take part in absolutely anything.
Bex, would you fancy lacing up with some gloves?
I'd really enjoy that,
Would
you? Yeah.
All right. Baz, if someone watching this, if any women watching this, and Bex would like to come down and get involved, how can they?
They can turn up if they want to do a mixed session. They can come to. We do them 7 days a week. We've got a ladies only session that's at a discounted rate of £1, and that is every Wednesday 7:30 to 8:30. And we've got quite a lot of women there, so we're going to be looking at making some additional sessions on top of that.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, you two, you've been amazing as always. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back at the same time tomorrow. See you then.